Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Signed the Traitors, brought to you by Silent Podcast, where we are anything but silent. We are a Traitors recap podcast, and I'm your host, Katie, and I am here with Javier and our traitorous friend, Kari, wearing her best traitor robe. How are you guys doing today? Happy Monday. How's everything?
If my only draft team member left is a traitor, I have to dress like a traitor for the rest of the podcast.
It's true.
It's actually a Nike sweatshirt.
Whoa.
Yeah, I accidentally, I didn't know that the hood was this big until I went
pretty
home
huge.
And try not to look at it.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
It
would make a good, yeah, it is. It's giving us Darth Vader energy more than
I
Vader
used to
energy.
say it was like the Dementors from Harry Potter, but now I have a much more like politically correct thing to reference.
Yeah,
so
we don't support, this podcast doesn't support Harry Potter. Well, this podcast doesn't support J.K. Rowling.
So yeah, now I am dressed as a traitor to support my one and only draft team member left, Suri.
Well, she's doing great. So
she is.
Javier, how are you? How are you guys still only up to episode 6, or did you complete anything over the weekend? Okay, so I completed it over the weekend because I knew myself I couldn't stay off the internet forever. But I will not spoil. We will not talk about anything past episode 6 today, and I will not give you any hints or clues or anything. But it does help me because now I can look things up.
You're very strong because it would be so hard to talk strategy without like thinking like, I don't know, but we'll see. I have a lot of thoughts on these 2 episodes, and most of them are frustration at the faithfuls, but
yeah, same. I think that's probably where we're going to spend most of our time today, is talking about what could possibly be going on in some of these people's brains, because I really don't know. Let's get into it. Episode 5, we pick up where we left off, which just to bring everybody back to where we were, since the last time we spoke about this was Friday, it's now Monday. Suri ended off the episode 4 murder session trying to push Cody to cut Ryan instead of Kyle. So that's exactly where we pick up. And we do see that Suri gets her way, and she's able to convince Cody to cut his bromance Ryan. Do you guys feel like this is a good move?
I felt like it didn't really matter.
Yeah,
like,
poor Ryan, so inconsequential.
To me, I wouldn't have done either of those things. I think I would have, unfortunately for the civilians, just like kept picking off like the least relevant person, because then there's still really no pattern or connection. Where, I mean, in a way, if Suri is thinking like 3 steps ahead to excommunicate Cody, then maybe I understand the move of like, oh, maybe people are going to connect like, oh, Cody's trying to cover up because like that was his friend, so like people don't think that he would do that. But I felt like between the 2 of them, it was just like kind of whatever for me, I guess. I probably would have went with like an Angelica.
Yeah.
I think unfortunately, killing Ryan is basically like killing an Angelica.
I was just going to say the same thing.
That's what I think. I think if they would have killed, I think killing Kyle would have been a bad play. Yeah. So I think killing Ryan is the better play from those 2. And like, I guess if Suri, again, like I kind of agree with Kari. If Suri's thinking like, let me weaken Cody, then it's a smart play. But yeah, I feel like getting rid of Ryan is kind of I feel like it didn't change the trajectory of this episode. So like, I'm glad it wasn't Kyle, because when I was watching the episode, like I've been pretty vocal in the podcast. Like I feel like Kyle's been playing a good game. We see how that turns out at the end of this episode. But I was glad in the beginning of the episode, I was very happy that it was not Kyle, because I think Kyle has more to show than Ryan anyway. So
yeah, I totally agree. To me, Javier, I feel like you nailed my thoughts exactly, is that Ryan is basically a civilian to me, because he was just walking around not really doing much of anything, and just being like, yeah, bro, everybody loves me. And like, he wasn't really playing the game. Not that many of them are playing the game at this point. I mean, they think they are, but they're really not. Like, I don't really know what they're doing. This is just all a mess. But yeah, I think, Suri got her way, and it seemed to rattle Cody a little bit more than he already was and has been rattled. I think in episodes 2 and 3, or 3 and 4, we saw him getting a little bit, antsy at breakfast. And then in episode 5's breakfast, I think was like the worst showing for Cody so far that we've probably seen. But before we get there, we could talk a little bit about some of the Rachel and Kate stuff. Stephanie is still zeroed in on Kate. And like at this point, I'm just so tired of this being just like the Kate show. Even though I love Kate, it just is like, you guys, you have to move on from something else to something else here.
Kate is tired of it being the Kate show.
Very much so, yes. Very much so. Especially in episode 5. That's really when she's fed up. Or episode 6, I'm sorry. When she's really fed up. But yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, to me, even though I think Kate has been the most entertaining for me to watch, at this point, I feel the same way I felt about Kate that I did about Michael. Like, just get rid of her. Like, if you guys are not going to move on from her, because she's obviously not, and I feel like these people know that she's not a traitor. Like, the majority of them, minus, like, Rachel, because Rachel's, which we'll get into later, I feel like Rachel's playing a very personal game and not actually thinking about the fact that Kate is probably not a traitor. But yeah, like just get rid of Kate at this point. Like, even though I'll be sad, like for the sake of this game, we can't keep every week Kate this, Kate that. Like, don't you guys get tired? Just get rid of her. So
yeah, I don't understand why they continue to keep her around, and if they realize they don't have the votes and they need to move on to something else, but pushing Kate over and over and over and over again, it's just not getting them anywhere. So one thing I do want to say is that if you watch the trailer and you kind of understood the format of this game, Ryan's murder was completely spoiled in the trailer of the show. So I was just like, oh, going into it, I knew it was going to be Ryan because they literally show him opening the envelope in the trailer of the show. And like the way he put his head back when he got murdered, I was like, oh, okay, so Will Ryan gets murdered then in the show. Which I guess if you didn't watch the UK, you wouldn't have picked up on that. But it was very clearly spoiled in the trailer for the show.
Well, that's actually really funny. Yeah, I didn't watch, as you know, the UK version, so I had no idea. But in retrospect, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Little messy from their perspective. So we find out that Ryan is murdered, and after that, Cody makes a baffling move and says something to Kyle along the lines of, you know, Ryan was sharing some of his suspicions with me before he got murdered, and he said your name, Rachel's name, and Ari's name. And Kyle was like, he said those names, like my name and Ari's name, and then immediately goes to Stephanie and is like, we have a flip-flopper and it's Cody, and he said something to me that Ryan would have never said. And Cody just like fumbled the bag here completely. What did you guys think about this? Like, what was Cody thinking?
I think that was the worst play in the game I've seen yet. So I thought this was going to be the moment where, like Kari was talking about how, like in the UK and Australia, Kari was saying the traitors like mess up. This was that moment for me, at least. I was like, oh, that's it. It's obvious. Like, we're moving forward. We're getting rid of Cody. Why would he say that? I was like, the emotions I've gotten to him. He's completely lost the script. He has no idea what to do. So I thought that was like the worst move I've seen yet. And the fact that they still do not go after Cody is just shocking to me.
I'm going to mention something about Australia here. So if you don't want to hear it, I'm going to be very vague, but I'm learning my lessons.
My headphones out?
Yeah, no, it's very vague. All I'm going to say is that this is not the first time that I've seen this type of thing happen. So whether or not it worked or didn't work for the other traitor, I won't tell you, but it's not the first time I saw it happen. So when I saw this, I was like, oh boy, we're trekking down this road again. Let's see how it pans out. But I think it's just a weird move to use somebody else's words when they're not there to be able to defend themselves or corroborate with you, because it is the easiest way to seem sketchy. Like, of course you're saying that. He's not here. He can't defend himself. So, or he can't like say, yeah, I did say that to him, whatever. And so I just think that, like, if a faithful does that, if a traitor does that, I just think you're opening the door to be questioned, and you deserve it.
It just doesn't really make much sense to me why Cody would have said anything at all. Like, no one right now is suspecting you as far as you know, so just say nothing. It's easier to do nothing and say nothing than it is to make up a story to try, and I don't even know really what he was trying to do. Like, I get suspicion off of him, but there was no suspicion on him at all, so it didn't really seem to make much sense to me.
Yeah, you're right. I don't understand the intention with that move. Like, how did he think that would benefit his game, you know?
Right. And Muse is in the chat saying that they don't have opinions on Ryan versus Kyle, but it's smart for each trader to be pushing to take out other traders' non-trader allies. Yes, I agree. And then they said, especially with someone like Ryan, who so clearly isn't gaming on that level. And I think the fact that Ryan isn't gaming on this level is more so a reason why Cody should have never said anything. Like Ryan is not the type who has been gaming this whole time. And that's, I think, what immediately set off Kyle. I mean, yeah, set off Kyle, because I think if it were maybe like a Rachel who got murdered and then said, oh, well, Rachel also said to me they suspected this, this, and this person, that's much more believable because Rachel's been gaming the whole time. It just seems like a silly mistake.
Who like Kyle was close to, like, even if, let's say that, you know what I'm saying? Like Kyle was close to Ryan. Like even if Ryan was a traitor, or if Kyle was a traitor, like him and Ryan would still be, you know, he would try to keep Ryan safe as long as possible because he knew that him and Ryan were buddy. So just the move makes no sense at all.
Yeah, no sense. So after breakfast, I mean, we see Kyle like, oh, okay, I've been tipped off. He's talking to Stephanie. And meanwhile, we see Andy saying to a few others that they think it was someone close to Ryan in their bromance, which is correct, but they put out Kyle as the name. And they say that, you know, he's more of a puppet master. Once again, we see these faithfuls like almost picking up on something, but just like completely off base. And they're all having a conversation about this in one of the side rooms. And Rachel walks in, as Kate says, like a steamroller, and Kate gets up and leaves the room immediately. And this is really where we see a lot of like the Kate and Rachel feud pick up steam a little bit. And then just to give kind of like an idea of where some of the other people are at, Quentin is still locked in on Kate, but now also locked in on Kyle. And Kari, I want to know, in the last episode, you said you thought Quentin had good instincts. Do you still feel like Quentin has good instincts, and can you defend that take?
I mean, it's kind like his reasonings aren't wrong. It's who he thinks are doing those actions that is wrong. So for example, the puppet master thing, you can argue that Cody is trying to do things like that. I won't say that he's the puppet master of the Traitors, because obviously my one and only draft teammate Sari is, but you could at least apply that logic to Cody. And in the way that Kyle did, like, you've played games where you've had to like lie and backstab and do all this stuff before. Like, you have experience in this. So I don't think that like Quentin's, the best way I can equate this is like when I used to grade these math quizzes and kids would do all the work right, but then they would say that like 10 divided by 5 was 3, and it's like, bro, it's 2. Like, you're almost there, you've almost got it. How are you messing this up? They're like, Quentin's like one off in for each of these. Like, just adjust. I don't know, like, are your contacts old? Like, do you need a new prescription? Are we seeing things wrong? I'm not sure, but I feel like he has some great reasoning. He is just not applying the reasoning to the right player in the game.
I think you're being really generous with Quentin's reasoning. I don't think Quentin has any valid reasoning whatsoever. I think he's just throwing things to the wall to see what sticks. And it's find
better than what anyone else is throwing.
I prefer the people who are throwing absolutely nothing to, like, I would prefer the way Angelica is playing the game than the way that Quentin is playing the game. Because this man is just loud and he's wrong about everything that he says. And Andy too, unfortunately.
Sits there is like, I'm awful at this game.
Well, at least she knows. At least she's self-aware enough to know, because Quentin is not. What do you think about Quentin, Javier?
I mean, in my notes for these 2 episodes, I just keep writing about, unfortunately, Andy and Quentin are like, I'm sorry, they're becoming insufferable in this game. Like, they do not understand anything. Like, you give them a reason and they do a 180 and use that reason to go against the person. And what really baffles me is that Quentin is kind of playing a similar game to Kyle in the sense that, like, he's trying to strategize incorrectly, but yet no one wants to get Quentin out. But when Kyle says the correct thing and he's strategizing a little bit, everyone wants to get Kyle out. So why can Quentin always be saying some dumb shit? I'm sorry, I'm just going to say what I need to say. Quentin keeps saying things that just don't need to be said, and no one wants to target him. And it's just
because he's wrong. That's why the Traitors aren't going to they're going to allow Quentin to stay around and keep saying wrong things versus Kyle, who is around and saying right things.
Well, it's not
obviously.
even the traitors. It's
Exactly.
the faithfuls that are so off
Shelby
base.
is agreeing with these thought process. Rachel's agreeing with
yes.
You think that the traitors really aren't involved in those conversations also agree? Like, if you have Suri in a conversation with you and she's like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me, are you not more likely to also agree with whatever is being said? You know what I mean? Like, she's a very reasonable person. People obviously respect her. So I mean, we don't see the conversations, but I
think you're being very generous. You're
Suri?
assuming the best of everybody else, and assuming that Suri has a hand in some of these terrible thought processes that these people are having. Because I just am confused at the logic, and we talked about it in the last few episodes, that they would still be honing in on Kate and still honing in on Kyle, where Kyle, especially in this episode, has a really shady proof. This is the first shred of proof that any of them have had at all to point the finger at somebody, and Kyle is pointing it correctly at Cody, and then they all just flip the script on Kyle because of Quentin and Andy. Already prior to the roundtable, the both of them are just saying, like, I think it's Kyle because Kyle can sway people off of Kate. And it's like, maybe Kyle's just right and it's not Kate, because logically it doesn't make sense that Kate would be a traitor, and Rachel and Stephanie are blinded by their dislike for Kate, that they are just locked in. So they're like, well, Kyle tried to get the vote off of Kate because Kyle's right. In the last episode, he said, if we get rid of Kate, we're just going to do the same thing that we did with Brandy. And it just feels like everybody's just blinded by bad reasoning. And I think Suri is probably capitalizing on that, but Suri is not the catalyst to those conversations.
No,
like, those conversations are happening around Suri, and the traitors are able to take advantage of this. I hate to say the stupidity, but like, I'm sorry, these people are dumb.
Listen, I know Quentin is completely wrong. I know who the traitors are. It's just the idea that, like, I think we're seeing a very highlighted version of the wrong thinking, and I just don't think that it's just them. And I think that there's also some work being done, because the other thing is, like, if you think of, like, okay, Suri has Stephanie wrapped around her finger. So if Suri thinks something, I bet you Stephanie is probably in a similar boat. So then there's those same thoughts being echoed out. If Christian and Suri, who seem to be on the same page, is also saying things, I don't know who he's aligned with because they killed off Bam like 12 years ago, but like,
his brother,
I just think
he loved him like a brother.
Yeah, I just think that, like, yes, these ideas are coming from different people, but I do think that we're probably just not seeing, like, the head nods that, yeah, that makes sense from especially the traitors, that to continue people listening to. I mean, even like Andy has said that they're like, as long as Suri is in the room, they're happy, they're fine, everything is okay. So if Suri is agreeing with Andy just because Suri knows Andy is wrong, I think that there's just a lot of, like, stuff that we don't get to see that just promotes this like style of thinking that is clearly incorrect.
Yes, I don't disagree with you there. I just think the bad reads don't start with the traitors planting seeds. It's that these people are terrible at this game, and the traitors are really able to take advantage of how terrible they are.
Yeah, I would like to clarify, I don't think that these are any of the traitors' ideas. I think that they are just continuing them and
as they
reinforcing them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Frustrating cast. These two
extremely frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. Before we get to the mission, Rachel does confront Kate about leaving the room, and she said that she's giving everyone. Kate says the reason that she left is that she wanted to allow them to have a private conversation, and Rachel tells her that it feels personal, and Kate gives her a very a very Mariah Carey, I don't know her, and says, nothing here is personal, I don't even know you. Which I was just like, we're getting like prime Kate Chastain in these 2 episodes, and it's just chef's kiss, incredible television. Javier, someone that doesn't know Kate as a TV character, what are you thinking about her so far?
Well, Kate is definitely my like favorite personality on the show. I also think Kate is terrible at this game, unfortunately, but she is just so good that I would keep her around. Like, I wrote down that line too. Like, I'm looking through my notes and I just write so many Kate lines because she just always says such great things. Like when she says nothing here is personal, I don't even know you to Rachel, I was cracking up.
Yes.
I was like, it is just, she says it so subtly, and it's just like the perfect, and to say it to someone like Rachel, who like can be kind of like a firecracker at times. And it's just great to see Kate just dish out so many great lines, and she is just hilarious. And I'm a big fan of Kate as a personality. As a player, I'm getting tired of her also, especially after episode 6. But I still
we'll talk about
Kate
that
as a personality.
Yeah, Kate is not good at this game. She has one right read that she said in the first few episodes. She hasn't really repeated it in these 2, I don't think, but that Christian is a traitor. But she has not been pushing that because of this feud with Rachel. It's just like Rachel versus Kate for these 2 episodes, basically. After this and Rachel leaves the room, she does also say, like, I think it's personal, shut up, asshole, and in front of like Suri and a bunch of people. And it's just like she just continues to go on this tirade against Rachel, which I just find truly hilarious. Any other Rachel versus Kate thoughts, or should we get into the mission?
Are we at the community theater part yet?
We are about to be.
Good, because that's great.
Yes.
What a line. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. So in the car on the way to the mission, we have Kate and Rachel in separate cars, and Rachel is saying, like, I'm going to push Kate, whatever. Kate's obviously a traitor. And Kate is in the car with Ari, Suri, and Andy, and she's saying, you want some honesty, Rachel? You look like you get dressed in a community theater. You're literally the only person who thinks it's cool that you had the first Big Brother baby. No one cares. No one fucking cares. And they're all just like laughing and giggling in the car, and as Kate's going off. And like, this to me, you look like you get dressed in a community theater, is maybe one of the funniest things I've ever heard on television.
I mean, and then in episode 6, she actually calls out how she dresses, which was another great line.
Amazing.
I mean, yeah, I also like highlighted the car scene because I was, again, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just cracking up at Kate. Like, she just says things and it's just like perfect. She's just so good at throwing shade. She's just great TV.
She is like truly a star. She's the star of this show to me.
Yep. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Community theater. And she's not wrong. Sorry, Rachel.
It's just like such an insult to throw
It is
out.
such an insult. As
I consider myself like somewhat quick-witted, and I just don't know if I ever would have gotten to that line. So when I hear something like that, I'm marveling at the creativity there. So great job. 10 out of 10 insult. Do it again. I'm here for it.
Yeah. It's pretty great stuff. So we get to the mission. The mission is at a church or chapel, and I'm going to screw up explaining how to do this mission, but essentially everybody breaks up into 2 teams, and they have to go into a confessional booth, and Alan Cumming is there, and he gives them a page and a paragraph number to look in for a riddle, and the teams have to find the answer to the riddle in the church pews where all the patrons of the church are, and there are a bunch of people with these creepy gold masks. I will say, without spoiling anything for the UK, a lot happens in this mission in the UK version, and it doesn't happen in the US. Like, there's a twist that happens in the UK, something is introduced in the UK that is not introduced here, and it makes this mission hit a little differently in a negative way because it doesn't feel like there's any stakes whatsoever in this mission, because both teams are playing against each other, but everybody's getting the money at the end of the day.
Right.
So like, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter who's playing against each? Like, it shouldn't, it just doesn't really make sense that they didn't have some kind of stakes here for these teams.
I mean, yeah, I literally, again, you stole the words out of my mouth. I wrote that, like, who cares about this mission? Like, this mission has 0 weight. You can't learn anything from this mission about these people. I just think this mission was like, I was like, this is a waste. Like, this is a wasteful mission. I don't know.
This is probably the worst one for me so far. Sorry, Kari, not to cut you off.
No, go.
Just because of that. Like, this mission should be fun. And if there were stakes associated with it, it would be more fun. But because it was just like, oh, it doesn't matter if like Rachel and Cody's team loses everything, which they do. They don't get one thing correct. It should have mattered a little bit, and it didn't matter at all because the other team got everything right. It's like one of the 2 teams is going to get it right. So it's not like they have any risk of losing any of the money. Sorry, Kari, go ahead.
I just wish that the producers of the Traitors would treat us like the intellectuals we are and stop putting in confessionals before each mission, being like, well, I'm going to look out for some shady behavior to see if it influences. Everybody's on the same team in these because the Traitors want to make money too. There's no sabotage happening. Everyone is all for one and one for all in this.
Today,
so, like,
at least.
Yeah. All right. Kate is the I before E, except after C part of that statement. And to be fair, like, you can't control her. So if everybody is playing to their full fruition, then nobody is trying to sabotage shit. There's nothing to pick up on. So stop making it seem like we're going to get clues on who the traitors are from these missions. We're not. And I don't need you to waste a confessional on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree. And Muse in the chat agrees as well. This is one of their favorite missions in the UK, but least favorite in the US. And I think I agree so far. This one was just a little disappointing. It should have been a little more fun than it was, and it really wasn't. Not really a ton else to say about this other than like Cody and his entire team, Kate, Rachel, Kyle, do not know Roman numerals like at all, and they were just counting the paragraphs on the page. Like, what a disaster. Kyle forgot what Alan Cummings said and had to go back. It was just like this whole thing was a mess. And I felt like these clues were truly so easy.
So easy. That's what I was saying. I was like, how did Team 1 get smoked so bad? How does Kyle forget 23 and 8? All you had to remember was 23 and 8, bro. Like, maybe that does make you look sus, because how do you forget those two numbers?
It's pretty rough. Anything else about the mission, Kari, Javier, that you want to say? I mean, the other team pretty much won. The team that Christian was basically the head of won the whole thing, but it doesn't matter because it all goes into the same pot. Yeah, extremely annoying.
How bad are you at collecting gold? Why did it need to be such a scene? I don't know. I was mad because I like riddles, and this mission, I can't even speak right now. I've developed 3 speech impediments in the last like 30 seconds. I like riddles. I was looking forward to this because of the riddle component of it, but then like quickly realizing that none of this matters, then I don't know. I was frustrated by this. The Traitors needs to figure out to make a way to make the challenges matter in a way that they have an impact on the game and not just on the money.
Yeah, completely agree. This is, I think, the biggest area of improvement. We have some opportunities here to do something in the next few seasons. I hope that they fix this specifically. So when we get back, go ahead. Sorry.
The only thing I do want to, the one good thing that came, so on this podcast, you guys are going to get mad at me because unfortunately, I do think I'm becoming a little bit of Team Christian. I'm starting to think Christian is playing a good game, actually.
Okay.
Like in this mission, we get a good Shelby diary room saying, oh, Christian is a natural born leader. So he already has like the respect of Shelby. And I think in these next 2 episodes, as we continue going through them, there's going to be some other times I'm going to highlight where I think Christian is actually starting to play a decent game. And actually, I think Cody's the worst traitor at this point. But I think
that I agree with 100%.
I think Christian, unfortunately, he's on my drafts, unfortunately for me. I think Christian is starting to do a 180 and he's starting to listen more. And I don't know. I think these 2 episodes were good for Christian's game in the long run, as I will highlight as we move on. But that was one of the first moments that I was like, okay, maybe Christian's turning around, because even though he's vocal and kind of annoying, he still has people like Shelby saying, oh, like he's a natural born leader. I want him on my side. And something like that means that Shelby will probably never want to get someone like Christian out. And I feel like throughout these 2 episodes, we see some other instances of where I'm like, Christian, well done. So
I think it's because of what I said about Christian. I don't know if it was the first podcast or the second one that we did, but his behavior is consistent. He's been loud and obnoxious and talks too much the whole entire time. When if you look at Cody is breaking down by the second. And so I think like someone like him who is not changing in how they approach every single day, regardless of the twists and turns that are happening, whether or not he's seen as a traitor or faithful, is an easy reason to like not look at him, because even if he's loud, even if he talks too much, he's loud and talks too much all the time. And so nothing's changing there. And people are really focusing on these like change in behaviors and I feel like that's a reason like Kyle kind of got picked on and like, oh, just over the last day. That's why I'm like concerned about you now. Where Christian's been Christian, nothing's changing, and that's benefiting him a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you both. I think people are, it seemed like in the beginning people were annoyed by Christian, but it really seemed like Cody and Brandy and Kate were the most annoyed by Christian. Everybody else wasn't. And Brandy's gone and Cody's a traitor with him and Kate is preoccupied with Rachel. So it feels like all of those things are kind of working in Christian's favor where I think like if the faithfuls were kind of thinking about this, maybe they should start looking at Christian as like, oh, he's kind of leading us and he's getting all of us to trust him. Maybe he could be a traitor, but we haven't seen that happen yet. So we'll see. But you're right. I think his game is improving. I just still find him extremely annoying. Extremely. After the mission, Rachel continues to try and rally troops against Kate. It really is starting to feel like it's the house versus Kate. Quentin is still pointing fingers at Kate, but is kind of shifting the tides along with Andy against Kyle, as we talked about a little bit earlier. And Cirie decides to tell Kyle that his name is out there. And here's where I think Kyle made a fatal flaw. He told Cirie that he had a theory of who it was, but didn't tell her why or who the person was that shared this information. He didn't want to give names to Cirie until he was sure. And I felt like this really was a fatal mistake for him because I'm not saying that Cirie would have not ended up voting for Kyle, but I think for the Traitors, it would have made sense probably to keep Kyle in the game a little bit longer than they did here. Especially if he's like already gaining suspicion, like they should have tried to rally everybody to not vote for Kyle. So he could have been a second shield in addition with Kate, but Cirie didn't trust Kyle enough. Well, Kyle didn't trust Cirie enough to give her any real information. So it didn't seem like she had any vested interest in keeping Kyle safe here.
Do you think like who would have been the third name though to come in to replace the Kyle votes, and how would they have started that momentum? Because I think part of that is with the wrong reasoning of like the Quintins and the Andys is that if there's very multiple people saying this and then you're coming in hot trying to deflect, like Kyle's deflection has been one of the reasons that's gotten him there. So then it's like, well, why is Cirie or why is Christian deflecting off of Kyle then? That's suspicious. Like who would have been that third name to swing in to replace the Kyle votes in that? Because you know the votes aren't coming off of Kate.
Right.
Kate's had the Bravo crew has been holding down votes since day one. So I just don't know who at that point, based off of what we know, would have been able to like sponge up Kyle's votes.
Yeah, it's a good question and one I hadn't really thought about. You're right. I don't know that they would have been able to swing it that close. And I think Kyle was really trying to swing it against Cody. And obviously it's not really in Cirie and Christian's interests right now to go against Cody yet. Although, I mean, is it not against their interest to go against Cody? He's clearly breaking down. I mean, we kind of see a start of something in the next episode, but like, why not just do it one banishment earlier?
I think for me, this moment, I do agree it was not the best move by Kyle. I think he should have, if you're not going to tell Cirie the whole truth, just hold on to that information until you feel comfortable in sharing that with her.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, seeing Kyle like game, this is like why I love like a show like Big Brother. Like I felt like Kyle was like recruiting votes. Like I got very excited to watch Kyle play the game for like these last like 30 minutes of this episode. Cause that's how that's why I love these social strategy games. Cause people are trying to get a target out, and to see that energy from Kyle just made me so happy and really wish that like, I hope that we can see Kyle in like a celebrity Big Brother or in like another social strategy game where there might be more powers and some more of the influences which he can use and like try to manipulate. Cause I feel like Kyle was very liked, and I don't know. It was just very great to see this side of Kyle come out, this like gamer side of Kyle that I didn't know we had in him. So it's another reason why I felt very sad that like we lose Kyle at the end of this episode, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. I wrote in my notes that I want to see Kyle in a season of Celebrity Big Brother. I think we probably talked about it in the last episode. I just feel like Kyle really leaned into this social strategy game and like gave it his all. And you're right, like pulling people into rooms and trying to rally people and even just picking up on that information from Cody being completely suspicious and then like only sharing it with one person. It it was really good work in my opinion by Kyle. It was just unfortunate that the momentum was already so strong by these people that clearly don't know how to play the game, who were pointing at him. Where I feel like keeping Kyle in the game, I think the civilians and the faithfuls would have been smart to keep Kyle in the game because he has a good sense of who the traitors are, and I feel like he would give them a better shot to be successful at this game because clearly they're not successful on their own.
Yeah.
But I think, Kyle brings a few people into a room. He's talking to people at the lunch. Well, it's really like the breakfast table, but I guess they're having lunch. Then we see a one-on-one with him talking to Andy, and he tells them what happened with Cody and is like, I really need your help. And Andy's like, yeah, I'll help you. And then we get to the banishment, and Andy's the one to kick off the meeting and say that they have suspicions against Kyle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it. Damn it, Andy.
Like, oh my gosh. Just Andy is like, when we started talking about the show, I remember we said that like Andy has a good chance of doing well. And like, for me, it's been Andy and Quentin the past few episodes. Like, I feel like from the civilians, they have had the most screen time. They have had the most trying to strategize, which like, I guess I like because at least Andy and Quentin are trying to play the game. But I just don't understand how Kyle is trying to like mediate these conversations and try to like pin a target down and try to, reason with these people why that makes him a target and why Andy takes that, okay, let me target Kyle as opposed to, hold on, Kyle's making a point at here and maybe Cody, like, why are you so trusting of Cody? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand. And I feel like Andy and Quentin on the side of the civilians have a lot of sway. So if these two are like going to go against Kyle, it's just was like a losing battle for Kyle in the whole roundtable discussion.
Yeah.
I am confused at the lack of connection in terms of previous murders. And so what I mean by this is, okay, so Reza gets murdered and the whole thing is like, oh, well, Michael and him had words. And like, okay, Michael wasn't a traitor. And then Azra gets murdered. And for the like, or why are we not connecting? Like, well, maybe it wasn't Kyle, or Kyle might be faithful. Maybe they're trying this whole like framing it on the person that they had an issue with thing again. Like, that wasn't true last time. Maybe it's not true again this time. Like, what? I don't know. The lack of connection to like previous things happening in this game and trying to reason that out is very frustrating to me because like it's the same three people making the decisions. At some point, decisions have to form some sort of semblance of sense or pattern that I just don't like that we're not even hearing of anything prior to like what's happening within that like 12 hours. Let's think outside the box for a second.
Yeah, it almost seems like Reza was not even on the show at this point. It's like they've never talked about him again. I agree with you. It's strange. They're really not trying to put their thoughts down. I won't say on paper, literally, because Kate did that and that was a mistake. But just like, you're right, reason it out, think about it. Who has a little bit of a connection with these people, but not enough to want to murder them? And it's just, I think if they really put some thought into it, they could have at least figured out one of these traitors by now, but they are so far off base. Far off base. And unfortunately, Andy starts off the roundtable being completely off base, and Kyle gave them a real piece of information about Cody, and they are still saying that Kyle is the traitor because he's the ringleader, and watching Kyle today run around to different groups raised their suspicions, which to me makes literally no sense. Kyle was tipped off with the fact that he was going to be the vote tonight. He had a real concrete piece of info that could be used as proof against Cody, and instead it's making Kyle more suspicious and not Cody. It doesn't make any sense.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, Katie, you just put that better than I would have. Thank you for saying that, because that's exactly
You're welcome. It just is crazy to me.
And it's just like, last time we were talking about the how Cody acts when he's confronted, and he did it this time. When Kyle confronted Cody, I don't know, to me, I would have been like, why is Cody got so frazzled? He started like he's doing the typical Cody, like, I don't know how to get out of the situation when I'm confronted. And that, I don't know, these people love to talk about how is someone's body language different, this, that, and the third. But we literally see Kyle give a reason. We literally see Cody get frazzled. And that's not enough reason for you guys to say, wait, let's just try it. Let's just try. We get rid of Cody. We do something different, because everything we've been trying for the past few episodes has not been working for us. Like, why don't we this one time trust what Kyle's saying? Because at least he has like evidence. He sounds logical and reasonable to me. So it's just like the fact that they somehow turned that to as a reason to get rid of Kyle is just shocking to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is like truly the only real piece of evidence that they've had. And instead, and you're right, Cody has been slowly breaking down since episode 2, basically. Every breakfast, he's like more of a shell of himself than he was the day before. And even Stephanie at the table says, you're a lot like me, and I would be a wreck as a traitor. And I feel like you're quiet and reserved because you're afraid to say anything. And this is what you're doing right now. And yet she votes for Kate. I just don't understand the reasoning. I don't understand the reasoning. I mean, they've taken swings at people to vote out this whole time, and they've been wrong. And now they finally have one piece of evidence to go on, and they just completely ignore it and instead vote the person out that gave them that evidence. Sad for them. The conversation gets a little lively, and then Rachel completely ends the discussion and is like, why are we not talking about Kate anymore? And it's like, because there's no reason to be talking about, there's literally no reason to be talking about Kate. It just drives me wild. It just, the whole thing, she's blinded by Kate. It drives me crazy. And everyone's like, well, you voted for Michael. And she's like, yeah, I was just wrong. Like, I was just straight out wrong. We've been wrong every time. Like, I'm not the only person that's been wrong. It's just so beyond frustrating.
If I see her clown ass on my timeline one more fucking time, even though I thought I've muted all the
Rachel
stuff, yeah, she still keeps, this woman was made for reality TV. Well, can it be a show I don't watch because I don't enjoy her?
Yeah, I'm not really in on Rachel and Stephanie, I have to be honest. Stephanie more so. Like, I'm more okay with Stephanie because I at least feel like she's reasoning things out. She pinpointed that it was Cody, at least. Like, she listened to Kyle and then she went with it a little bit in the next episode. But like, Rachel, I don't understand what is going on in Rachel's mind here.
Yeah, I fully agree. Like, Rachel's just taking the Kate drama too personally. She's like she was the first one who said Cody was and now she has a chance to get out Cody too. So I think maybe you were right, Katie. Maybe that was like a later
I think it was
diary room, and then they played in the beginning to give us some drama. Because how does she say that episode 1 and she finally has a chance to get out Cody with a concrete reason and she doesn't take it? Like, she just like cannot see past the Kate blinders. Like, come on, like, don't take this so personally. You're trying to win money here.
I want to go back and see what Rachel's wearing in the confessional where she says that. Mm-hmm. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else about the confessionals and outfits or anything, but I do feel like maybe they should have just told them to change their clothes and not wear any of the outfits that they have on during the show in their confessionals, so we can't pinpoint a timeline, because I'm just saying. So Ari, though, he does say at the table, and this is the first time I wrote in capital letters, finally someone is making sense. He says that he doesn't believe that someone would be as boisterous as Kate if they were the traitor. And I'm like, finally someone is using their brain and saying, like, why would someone make such a spectacle of themselves if they were the traitor? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, thank you for speaking reason out loud. But I don't really think it unfortunately matters too much because Kate still gets a bunch of votes. So
he's said a few things so far this season, just a little bit more low key than this one, that I know that when we were doing our draft, we were all like, Ari, okay. Yeah. But honestly, he's not the worst. He's not.
He and Kyle, I think, are the two most pleasant surprises to me in terms of like how people are playing the game. Like, I think that they both have some pretty good game sense. So shout out to Ari for, I don't know, using rational thought. I don't know. Yep. Any other thoughts before we get into the votes? I mean, Kyle unfortunately gets banished. Kate got a couple of votes. No one voted for Cody. Kyle didn't even vote for Cody, which he said he was going to do, but he crossed it out. You could see he erased it because he said from a number standpoint, doesn't make sense. And even here, I feel like Kyle is like a smart game player. Like, he realizes there's no reason to vote for Cody, and the only way that he could even come close to saving himself is to vote for Kate. So I appreciate him even thinking that way. But Kyle gets banished.
I mean, I think I've said enough on Kyle. Like, I'm just very angry. I just feel Kyle didn't deserve this. It's good for the Traitors, but like, I just don't understand a world where I would play this game and get out Kyle now. Or I would hope that getting Kyle out now, seeing that he's a faithful, would then at least make them target Cody. But even then, they still don't want to target Cody. Like,
I
what
was
does
about
it
to
take?
say that.
What does it take to get these people to,
wake up? I don't know.
Yes.
It's kind of confusing to me. Again, like I had mentioned earlier, why aren't we hearing conversations of what's happened in prior episodes? And there's one of two things. One, they're just straight up not happening, which is fucking wild to me. Or two, NBC has edited this, or Peacock, I don't know who to blame, has edited this in a way where it's like you can kind of pick up episode 5 without having watched 1 through 4, and it doesn't have too much of an impact on your viewing experience. And if that's the case, fuck off. Again, like, respect the intelligence of your audience. But I don't know what to believe because of how awfully these faithful are playing. It could really be the fact that it's just not happening. So I'm a little confused, but like you're saying, Javier, Kyle being a faithful, Brandy being a faithful should be two major signs to these people that you are wrong. And the fact that it's still like what it is, I don't like. Are you as hollow as those goddamn bells Rachel Riley had so much fun ringing in that challenge? I don't know.
Yeah, it's I hope that there's things that we're not seeing, but even if there are, that means more conversations are happening that don't make any sense for them to be like, I'd almost rather them be so bad at this that they're not even thinking about that than like having them have conversations about what's happened in the past and still ending up where they are, if that makes sense. Because I'm just like, either way, it's bad. So I'd rather them just like not even have the wherewithal to be like thinking about it. I don't know. These people are really bad at this game.
Yeah. The only other thing I can say is that if these conversations are happening, I don't think they involve like Cirie, Christian, or Cody.
Right.
Because then they would, I feel like then you should include them to then really show that these traitors are like manipulating these people down. Like if these traitors are so good at this game and these people and the faithfuls are just not the worst players possible, then show us those conversations. So that's why I think they're not happening, because if Cirie and Christian and Cody were manipulating that much, I think they would show that in the edit. I think these traitors are just not, the faithfuls are just not thinking beyond what they see.
Yeah, agreed. And Muse says that multiple players have said they were given very little time outside of roundtables to talk and strategize, which is disappointing. Okay. Which that is disappointing. And I don't really understand it if they all lived in the castle together, because it does seem like they live in the castle in this one. I don't know. Maybe they have like lockdowns or something. It's a little wild. But at Kyle's banishment, he does say, my behavior changed today because I actually started to figure it out and I didn't have enough time to circulate, share, and figure out who I could trust and who I can't, which I really feel like is true. Like if Kyle figured it out a day before or just had a little bit more time, and if people were willing to point the finger at Cody, then I think maybe he could have done something. But he also says to take note of who's planting the seeds because you guys are watering them and letting them grow, which is true. Yeah. So after the banishment, Cirie tells us in a confessional that Cody brought suspicion onto himself and there was no reason for him to say anything at all, and it makes zero sense. And I obviously agree. We talked about this, but it does seem like this is starting to get to her, at least. I don't think we really hear too much from Christian about this specifically. But Cody immediately starts to do damage control, and he starts putting out Stephanie's name. And then we see a clip of Stephanie talking to a few other people saying like, Cody's going to start putting it on me because he knows I'm onto him. And I'm just like, dude, this guy's playing himself in a hole. He is so transparent at what he's doing. And it just goes to show that like, maybe Cody's not really that good at these games. I'm just saying.
No, I fully agree. I'm glad you mentioned that, because in my notes I wrote, and now Cody's scrambling. Like the fact that right after that, Cody's now throwing Stephanie under the bus. Like, come on, guys. This is just like, there's just no way y'all can be this dense. I'm sorry. Like, It is just so frustrating. And I don't know how I can see Cody do that and not think my eyes are going to be on Cody like a hawk. Like, oh, why is he now throwing out a new name? He's trying to obviously take for us to stop talking about him. So just come on.
I think I would also at this point use, I remember where I heard this, but like people tend to project their own behavior onto you, right? And so, for example, like your boyfriend or girlfriend is accusing you of cheating, like a lot unnecessarily. Oh, maybe something to consider is like they're the ones doing this, right? In the same way, has Cody mentioned a single name that is not a reality TV person as a traitor?
Nope.
No, he's now named 4 in this like hour episode that are all reality TV people. So just throwing it out there, if I was a reality TV person, be like, why is he naming everybody but himself? Or like, not obviously everybody but himself, but you know what I mean? Like, this is a little suspicious.
Yeah, for sure. And weirdly, Cody seems like very protective over Angelica, which I thought was really weird. Like she's just keeps like
innocent.
Yeah, I'm like, what? And then even Suri and Christian are like, everybody's innocent. What are you talking? Like, it's weird. It's weird. Just weird behavior. But we get to the murder. We find out that Amanda had to leave the castle for reasons beyond her control. And I Googled it because I've seen the whole thing, so I felt safe Googling. We don't know. No one knows. She said on Instagram she's going to make a post about it soon, and she has not made a post about it yet. But I would really like to know, like, I mean, hopefully everything's okay. It seems like, you know, she's out there on the internet. Everything seems fine. But I was wondering how they were going to play this with someone randomly having to leave. Like, I don't know. Didn't seem like that was territory that we've crossed over before, but
she had a positive pregnancy test. No, I'm just kidding. That's a challenge.
And they would let her play they would let her play the final if that was the case.
Yeah, that's just a challenge. That's my bad.
Yeah. So we get to the murder turret. Suri asks Cody what he was thinking, and he was like, "Oh, I thought I was gaining trust with Kyle," and he realized like in that moment he fucked up. And then they get a knock on the door, and they leave us with this ridiculous, even more ridiculous cliffhanger because we have the next episode that starts right away. Like, we're binging this. Everybody's probably binging this if they're watching it. They're not just going to turn the episode off here and not find out what goes on. I don't know. It was a weird edit to me, a weird cut, but everyone's like, with their face on their hands, freaking out. And I'm like, it's Alan. Of course it's Alan.
Can we pause real quick before we do this? There are 2 things in the chat that need to be addressed.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw those 2.
Okay, let's go with the more mild one, which also makes some sense to me.
Angelica's Tommy's cousin and not aunt. Okay, that makes sense. So not the one that dated Christy. Thank you, Adrienne. Thank you.
Yeah, because when we were talking about that, I'm like, I know like my partner has an aunt that's like 2 years older than him, and family dynamics can be weird. But I was like, wow, they're like gotta be really close in age to be like aunt and nephew sort of thing. But that's why I didn't say anything then. But that clarifies.
Okay, and Adrienne also confirmed that says that Rachel confirmed that Amanda had COVID, which is shocking to me because how?
And like, first of all, and then how do they not? They've been with Amanda for days now.
Yeah.
How does everyone not have it?
Yeah, they can all have it at this point then.
Especially being in that little car in those Jeeps. Like, how did they not all have it?
That's a crazy.
Also, like, Amanda said that she would make a post about it soon. So why is Rachel out there spreading around that Amanda had COVID?
Because Rachel, if Amanda didn't mention it. Shut up, Rachel.
Yep, that's Rachel energy.
Like, come on, Rachel. Let her speak about it herself if she wants to speak about it. Why do you have to be the one out there spreading all that information? I can't.
Okay,
all right. Well, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled to see what Amanda has to say, because that's wild to me that if she did have COVID, first of all, I don't know how they didn't sequester them beforehand to make sure that there was a quarantine period. And I don't know how none of the rest of them got COVID.
Or like, don't they test? Like, why wouldn't they have just tested day one? Okay. Like either maybe someone from production had it, so that's how she can get it, I guess. So maybe she didn't have it.
But then I feel like they would have to shut down production anyway, at least for a couple of days to make sure no one else had it.
Well,
I read something that
that's true.
So I read something that someone else had COVID and had to drop, and it was before the show started, and one of these people is actually an alternate. The thing I read, it was reality TV, that Instagram, like I forget the exact account, and I'll find it in a second to give them their credit, but they wouldn't say who the actual alternate was that ended up taking the place. So COVID was around them at the beginning. I think that what sucks is it was an Instagram story, and I've had to like skip through their stuff because they've been like, oh, we're talking about the Traitors now or whatever. So I don't know if it was like You know, it takes a few days to cultivate and then until you test positive or whatever. So maybe it was something like that. Maybe. But I do remember reading that someone else was supposed to be on the cast and dropped in because of COVID. So it was Casey. It was Casey who had
Casey's
COVID.
track record, time number 3 for Casey. Wild. All right. Well, I'm going to do a little digging and some research since I'm finished, and I'll see what I can come back with for tomorrow when we record. So we kick off episode 6. Surprise! It's Alan at the door. Who did you think it was? Of course, it was Alan. Who else could it have been? It's clearly Alan. And we learn that the traitors have to put 3 people on trial. So they have the day to observe them all day while they're on trial. And then of those 3, then they have to choose to murder one of them. This doesn't impact the banishment, though. Like, anybody can be banished. But one of the 3 people that they choose will be murdered tonight or tomorrow night, I guess.
Do you think that, well, do you want to say who they chose?
Sure.
And then
they ended up choosing Kate, Rachel, and Angelica. And the reasoning is because Kate and or Rachel, I mean, they hate each other. They don't really say this, but I am assuming they just think like one of them will blame the other as a traitor, like putting themselves up because they're obviously not going to get murdered because the traitors can put up anybody, including one of themselves. And they put Angelica up because she's emotional, which Christian is just chomping at the bit to put up any woman that has any emotion whatsoever. Hates any woman that has one shred of emotion.
I hate your draft team. I didn't know that
Javier. They can nominate traitors.
They can, yeah. They can nominate traitors.
I wonder
that was going to be my question.
I feel like I would have put like a Cody up, especially since Cody's like under the microscope right now. I don't know. To me, it would have made sense to put like Rachel, Kate, Cody type of thing. That's probably what I would have gone with. So I had to assume you couldn't put a traitor. But once I found out you could, I just think it was weird. But I guess it doesn't seem to cause any backlash. I guess it worked out just as they wanted. So what do I know?
So this is obviously hindsight because I don't think that the players knew about the shield option at this point. But
no, not yet.
No.
Because here's where I think it can go wrong for a traitor to be put up. If at banishment, let's say instead of Angelica, it's Cody, right? So we've got 3 reality TV people up on trial. So at banishment, they take Kate out. At the thing, at the challenge, Rachel gets the shield. So then, like, do the traitors have to murder Cody?
Well, I think if they try to manage Rachel, then just like no one would get banished. Because I think that's what would happen. I
don't understand what you're saying.
If the traitors take a shot at the person who has a shield, then no one gets murdered. It's
no,
just
that's
like
not
the murder
my point.
Doesn't work.
That's not my point. So here's why I don't think that putting up a traitor makes sense for the traitors, because if Kate gets banished, she's gone that night, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then the only 2 people who are left to be murdered are Cody and Rachel. Pretend Rachel picked the shield.
And you can't murder
Rachel
Cody.
can't be murdered, right?
Yeah.
So, but there would only be 2, or so there. You're either assuming that Kate left with the shield. Well, no, because the whole shield thing is like a whole random choice as it is.
Or you could assume that they tried to kill Rachel and she had the shield, so it didn't go through.
True.
But as a traitor, do you waste that murder, or do you and Sari, or like Christian and Sari, be like, sorry, Cody, like we can't. It would be suspicious if like, why would we go after the person who potentially could have the shield? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of dumb, because if only 3 people could get the shield. So if Rachel is one of them, going after any of the 3, you almost like all have immunity in a way, unless it gets out that Rachel specifically has the shield. Then you're only left with Cody. So I guess that's why I was team put up a traitor until I like thought through the math of it all.
I think they could just easily explain it away, though, and just say, like, oh, I guess the traitors went against Rachel and they tried to murder her and it didn't work. Oh, my God, Rachel would have been murdered last night. And then she would have been, like, all in a tizzy of, like, Kate's gone. Who would have tried to murder me? And I don't think it would have put any suspicion on the traitors if Cody didn't get murdered.
Oh, I 100% think it would, because why would you go after any of those 3? Like, why would you waste the potential to murder when there's clearly like someone who didn't have the shield as an opportunity to murder. Like, oh, we're gonna roll the dice.
Well, yeah, and I guess they didn't know that the shield existed when they had to put these people up on trial. If they did put a traitor up.
I mean, this cast is so dense. I'm sure they
I don't think it. With it. Yes, they absolutely would have gotten away with it.
Would have thrown out some crazy idea about how Kate, they would have somehow pinned it on somebody.
Yes.
I just feel like no matter what I'm at the point where I feel like no matter what happens, I can't imagine a world where we don't end with the traitors winning unless they get super lucky. Like, I'm at the point where I don't think these people are going to get it unless maybe Stephanie can somehow convince these people to get out Cody. Because I think Stephanie's the only one left who's willing to target Cody now that Kyle's gone and Kate and Rachel are never going to stop beefing. So I just don't see how these people can figure this out.
Yeah, it's not looking good for our faithfuls here. I mean, yeah, what a mess.
We're 6 episodes in out of 10, and there's no traitors gone.
Is this worse than in the UK and in the Australia version that they have someone by episode 6?
Well, I mean, they've had a different amount of episodes, and I feel like there was also more content per episode, but it definitely didn't take this long. More content. I would say Australia, it might have maybe taken around the same amount of people, but there was also a bigger cast in Australia. I think they started with 24, and there was 4 traitors.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So we get to breakfast. Kate is frustrated. She walks in. She doesn't want to be there. She's basically like, I'm in hell. She feels like she's being held hostage in this house. She wants to leave. No one's listening to her. And she's over it because she's winning money helping to win money for these traitors who are just going to end up taking it all at the end, in her opinion. So she's like, why am I going to even put any effort into this? Because everybody's lying to each other and people are just going to take this money anyway because everybody's dumb. So that's something to think about. We won't get too deep into it right now, but just something to remember. Quentin is sitting at the table and is like, I'm starting to realize like anyone is fair game to the traitors at this point. And I'm like, bro, anybody's been fair game for the traitors this whole time? Like, what are you talking about? And then he says, maybe certain things I think a traitor would do, maybe that's just not it. And I'm like, yeah, guy, let's go with that. Like, let's go with that. Let's go with the fact that like, oh, I've been thinking about this wrong the entire time, which like, based on everything else in this episode, I don't think he really has taken what he's saying to heart because he's still 100% wrong.
Yeah.
We get some of my favorite Rachel versus Kate in this episode. Yes, so Kate comes down and she's wearing a green sweater vest that has sheep on it, and it has all white sheep and then one black sheep. And Princess Diana has worn not the sweater vest version of this, but like a sweater version of it. It seems like symbolic, Kate's the black sheep. Princess Diana was the black sheep of the family. She comes down in that. And Rachel is wearing, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but Rachel truly looks like she came out of like a 1980s like Madonna tribute club night where everybody's supposed to dress like a Madonna or Cyndi Lauper or something, but like she got her clothes at like the bargain bin. Like, I don't know what Rachel is wearing, but she looks crazy. She looks crazy. I don't know if you guys agree, but when Rachel walked in, I was like, what? I said before Kate said anything, I was like, what is Rachel wearing? Like, she just looked wild to me. Like, she's wearing a costume.
I agree. I'm glad that Kate clocked it because it was terrible. Like, it was just not.
I don't get it. I don't get how did she have a mirror in her room? Like, I really don't know. But Kate is eating something and she laughs to herself. She goes, that outfit's funny. And then I was like, oh, we're going somewhere with this. Like, and I was like, yes, that outfit is funny. Like, I don't really know. Rachel says that Shelby would be an obvious murder. And Kate says, how can you be sure? Because you think I'm a traitor and I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't pick that outfit. So I don't think I trust your judgment completely. And I was just like, stop. And then I had to rewind like 3 times just to make sure that I heard correctly. Because I was like, I can't believe she actually just said this to Rachel's face. Because Rachel's truly dressed like a clown.
I mean, Kate ate her right up, left her
right up.
Amazing. Right 10s for Kate. 10s for Kate, honestly. 10s.
Yep. Across the board.
I love Kate just like lighting things on fire on her way out. Although I'm not even convinced that she's going to leave in next episode. My hopes and dreams are that they don't murder her and they make her stay.
She's begging to go.
Yeah, you know what? Like,
I would.
It's like Jatia with the rice here. Like, let's just.
Oh my gosh.
Let's fuck shit up, but keep her around afterwards anyway.
Well, Rachel, yeah, in my notes I said Rachel's wearing a completely batshit outfit. Rachel says to her, like, I wouldn't pick that ugly vest. And I was like, I can't believe that you literally have the balls to call someone else's outfit ugly right now. Cause like you literally look like you're wearing, like you play dress up with someone else's clothes. Like you look crazy. Wild. Rachel says like that she can't understand how the faithfuls can be so blinded by Kate at some point in a confessional. And to me, and I wrote in my notes, guess what, Rachel? You're the one who's actually blinded by Kate. No one else is blinded by Kate except for you and Stephanie because you're bad at this game. Because Rachel is not, I mean, Kate is not a traitor. You are the ones that are blinded by her because you cannot get your mind off of it. So off base. She's so off base.
So off base. Oh my gosh. Wait, someone said a really funny comment that I think can you guys please highlight the Adrian's last comment, because that is literally the type of drama I live for. Because that's what I grew up on. I grew up on the VH1 old school petty type of drama, and I agree. That's what Kate is giving me. Like any little thing, she will get you for it. Like she doesn't care, and she's so smooth with it. It's just amazing.
Yes, it is, and actually is like really giving that energy completely, and it's great. It's really great. So everybody, Andy and Cody are the last two to come in, and everyone's like, could it be Cody? Oh my God. Or I bet Cody's still here because Cody's a traitor. And Andy comes in first, and Stephanie's like, oh, and then Cody, of course, walks in because no one got murdered last night. Guess what? No one got murdered. And Alan comes in and he hands the letters to Rachel, Kate, and Angelica. And he reveals that Amanda was also a faithful.
Thank you for finally having a traitor walk in last. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, the first time.
I just want to have a quick moment of silence for my draft being absolutely demolished. Like
I have no sympathy. Have you seen mine?
Well, you have the potential winner. Like I see Sari possibly winning. I don't know about my team.
But
if you have only one person, she's the person that I would want to have.
Her back hurts from having to carry my entire draft on it.
But like I honestly feel like Amanda had a good shot of winning. Like even when she got eliminated, everyone was like, "There's no way." They all knew she wasn't a traitor. Like it really hurt me because I lost 50% of my team in the span of 47 minutes.
I did think of that.
I thought Amanda was probably the civilian with the best game sense.
She was my favorite civilian.
Yeah.
So I just want to I was very sad that Amanda left in such a way. I mean, if she had COVID, yikes, but I hope she's okay if it wasn't, whatever it was that happened.
Yeah. So we get these letters. The three girls find out that they are on trial, and Christian is like overly explaining the rules of this twist. And he's like, well, I'm just saying
this whole fucking game.
Yes. But like, how is this not? And we get a confessional of Sari saying the same thing of like, dudes, just stop talking. Like, why are you talking so much? And he's like, I'm not saying like you guys are traitors, but the traitors can put themselves up. So like, it doesn't mean you're not traitors. I'm just saying. And like, no one else is talking this much. And I just don't understand how people can't be like, Christian, you're really explaining these rules here like you've been told them before, because we all just found out the same thing all at the same time. But it seems like you heard this already. So maybe you're a traitor, but no one's picking up on it.
He's been doing that the whole time.
This whole time.
It's why the behavior is consistent, and no one at this point is going to be like, oh, weird that he's kind of explaining this, because he has mansplained the shit out of every single action that has happened on this fucking show. So, like, he gets away with it. Fucking men.
Present company excluded.
I said what I said.
But yeah, no, it's rough. It's rough. Christian is... Can you imagine having to, like, spend this much time with Christian? Because I'm annoyed watching him in 1 hour episodes.
I don't know how Kate is focusing solely on Rachel, because there are plenty of other worthwhile targets. I would love to see her just, did you guys ever watch the show Roast Battle? Mm-mm. Kate would excel at it. My God, it's perfect for her. And I would love for like the next challenge to just scrap it and let's just have a roast battle instead. And Kate just gets to go up there and tear apart everybody who's left. Like, please.
Yeah, I would like to see it. I would love to see it. So that's pretty much the breakfast. Kate is like, thank you, traitors. You gave me a gift. Murder me tonight. I don't want to be here. Like, kill me off. Thank you. This is great. After breakfast, we get a couple of clips Ari says to Suri that he never thought Kate was a traitor. And I'm like, finally, again, Ari seems to be one of the only people thinking clearly in this house. Kate is trying to get herself murdered. Like I said earlier, she's done helping everyone gain money because she knows the traitors are going to take it at the end. Then we see Cody just talking about how much of a toll this is taking on him. And it's like, he's Cody. Like going behind Angelica and like hugging her and comforting her. And I'm like, what's the deal with Cody being like the savior of the civilians here? Like, I just don't get it, because do you not remember that you played Big Brother twice and you had to cut people every, and I know we said it last time too, but like, what? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And why all of a sudden do you care?
And again, he put her there. He did not have to make put Angelica on trial.
Yes.
Bro, you could have put Shelby. You could have put Quentin's interesting gameplay ass. You could have put Andy, but you chose to put the most emotional person there, you know?
Right. I know. It's just doesn't make any sense. Kate is talking to Suri and Angelica, I think, and just starts screaming in the room that Rachel's a traitor. She's just like, Rachel's a traitor, Rachel's a traitor.
That was so funny.
So truly so funny. Oh, it was Shelby. She was with Shelby. And Shelby thinks Rachel put herself up as a traitor, and thinks that she's the brain of the operation, which I'm like, okay, this is at least like a line of thought that I can follow, because Rachel has been so anti-Kate and trying to get everybody to focus on Kate that maybe it would make sense if Rachel were a traitor. But I still don't think I mean, obviously we're seeing a highly edited version. I just don't know. I would have followed the line of thinking that Kyle put forward the night before and said, like, you know, maybe the traitor is someone who we haven't thought about before and who his name isn't out there. But I was excited to hear Shelby at least say, like, no, I agree. I don't think Kate's a traitor, and I think that it's Rachel. Stephanie is continuing to push Cody to everybody, which I'm happy to see. Finally, again, someone using some sense. Yes. Thankfully, Stephanie is thinking. Rachel is on board, surprisingly, to push Cody. But surprise, Quentin trusts Cody and doesn't think Cody could ever do this. He really trusts Cody, you guys. He doesn't think he's a traitor.
Moment.
Quentin, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing? I don't know. Rough go for my guy Quentin here.
That's all I have to say about Quentin.
Yeah, it's rough. Suri and Christian are both also starting to get worried because Cody's name is coming up a lot, and they hear Cody's name a lot. So they're getting a little concerned. And that's pretty much where we end after breakfast before we get to the mission. Any thoughts on these little side combos that we've seen?
I think that now that Stephanie's onto Cody, she's probably going to go home in the next episode or two. Because once someone gets onto a smart thought, they go home. It's just, unless somehow she can convince people to get Cody out, this is unfortunately the end for Stephanie, because you can't be logical in this game. You can't have an ounce of logic and get far unless, I don't know. It's just, I fear for Stephanie's game moving forward.
It's funny though, because the traitors aren't the ones taking out the people with the logic. It's the other people.
It's the other dumbass people.
Yeah, you would think that if you were to describe the premise of this game to 20 strangers and be like, okay, so in this situation, like, this guy said an actual traitor's name, how do you think he gets removed from the game? Like, oh, the traitors murder him.
Exactly.
No, absolutely not. No. It is the faithful that banish the person with the right idea. So that's the part that is most wild about all of this for me. Like Javier is saying, these people who have these right thoughts are not long for this game for all the wrong reasons. It's not the traitors taking them out.
Yeah, it's really, the traitors don't have to work very hard. Let's just say that.
Literally.
That's why I don't know why Cody's putting himself through this emotional turmoil, because it's like these people are just going at each other and the traitors almost have to do nothing other than pick someone to murder at night.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And like, so people bring them information, like to Siri, like Siri, right. People bring Siri information and she's like, yeah, that's a good idea. And then we get, like, I think earlier, I don't know if it's earlier or later, but like Andy goes, oh, I fully trust Siri. And like we saw Siri a few episodes ago say, oh, Andy's the person I want to keep close. And ta-da, it's working perfectly for Siri because Andy is 100% team Siri, you know? So like everyone's just bringing the traitors like the information and just taking themselves out. It's just super frustrating.
I know, and I don't want to take anything away from the game that I feel like Suri is playing, because I think she's
Yeah.
an incredible traitor and she's doing a great job. It's just the fact that like she doesn't need to be doing a great job because these people are just not thinking about this game correctly. But that's not to say that she's not playing a great game. She is. It's just that she's playing a great game around a lot of really dumb people that don't know how to play. And I don't mean that they're dumb like in their real lives, but they're dumb at this game for sure. Yeah, I'm sure they're all very smart, very nice people. Yeah, very smart. But like, guys, let's think about this for a second here. What are you here to do? Find out who the traitors are. So we get to the mission. It's a barrel mission. So basically they have to go through this pretty long trail, uphill, downhill, through a river, whatever. And they have all these barrels that are scattered throughout the trail that they have to hike through, and they all have different amounts of money on them. And this is where we get introduced to the idea of the armory and the shield. So in the church episode is when in the UK version the shield was introduced, which made total sense for that one because it was a team mission. 2 teams were playing for something. There was stakes. This episode, nope, we have it in this barrel mission, which I don't know if it makes the most sense, but I guess it's fine, whatever. Especially with the trial looming, it seemed like a weird time to introduce it, but who am I to say? So the goal of the mission is to push all the barrels up the hill, and the amount will add up at the end, and they're bigger. Each higher denomination of money is a larger barrel. So I think the highest one was like $10,000, and it was a gigantic, very huge, heavy barrel. And then there were 3 armory barrels. So in order to get the opportunity to get the shield, you have to bring all 3 armory barrels across the finish line. So everybody's going through. Kate just like walks off to the side. She's like, I'm not helping. I'm not doing this. Like, fuck this, basically. I'm not helping these traders win more money. No one listens to me. This is dumb. And she just kind of like fucks off on the mission. She doesn't do anything. She's along with them. She's carrying these little $600 barrels, like 3 or 4 of them. They're little. They're like little, you can carry them in your hands, while there's like, everybody is like using their whole body weight to push these barrels up a hill. And Kate just ends up like, she's just, talking her shit throughout the thing. She's like kind of like poking people verbally. She's clearly like calling attention to the fact that she's not participating. And then she pulls a page from the Book of the Mole and just starts throwing the money away. Yeah, she just starts throwing the money away, which is literally something that happened in the mole. Literally, right? Yes.
In the snow mission.
Literally just throws the money away. And everyone's like, Kate, why are you throwing the money away? And she's like, whatever. I'm just like I'm not like doing it, whatever. So yeah. What did you guys think about this move from Kate?
Kate for the mole on season 2 of the Netflix version. That's literally all I took away from this, because I'm not gonna lie to you, as soon as I saw it was this mission, I started fast forwarding. I was like, I don't care about this. And so I fast forwarded to where I was like every like 30-ish seconds checking in, and got to Kate throwing away the money, which I watched because it was hilarious. And just Kate for mole next season. Hopefully she'll be cast.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to her logic here. If you're Kate and you know you're not going to win anyway, and you hate all the people around you, and the people around you are accusing you of something since week 1, basically, or day 1, why not just throw the money away? Why do you want to go crazy and help these people win money that you're not going to benefit from?
I kind of said that last episode, didn't I? Or like last time we recorded, I'm like, Kate to me is the type of person that if she can't win, she wants people she likes to get the money. And she'll be spiteful enough to make sure that people she doesn't like get the money. And then here she is throwing shit like she's a flower girl walking down the aisle. And so I wasn't surprised, because if anything, I was like thankful that I predicted Kate's behavior in a way. I understand Kate. I am 5 seasons deep of her in Real or Below Deck, and just it makes perfect sense, which is just, again, this behavior to me should be screaming to the other people, there is no way that she is a traitor.
Yeah.
So 2 things I got from this challenge. First of all, I was very happy because I was talking about this in the last episode, that finally a challenge with some stakes. Like, there's a power at hand, there's immunity. Like, this makes me a little bit more interested in the missions than beforehand. So I did like that they finally gave this power of the armory, or the shield or whatever it was, to protect them. I was very happy with that. Second, I think this was the best like 15 minutes of Kate of the season yet. And there've been some great moments, but there were I literally wrote down like 4 Kate lines. Like at one point she said, "You think I'm gonna push barrels? Y'all need to get some dignity." When she said that,
Yes.
I literally wrote, "She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment." Like
yes.
she is just so freaking funny throughout this whole challenge. And it was just a great mission to watch just Kate like complain and give us so many great lines. And that's the highlight for me of this mission, that like Kate absolutely carried as usual. She's carrying the personality of this cast because Kate is just so freaking funny.
Well, yeah,
I'm
she
glad
wasn't
you said
carrying
that.
anything else. She just
No,
dropped
she was not.
everything.
True that.
Yes.
She had open arms to carry the personality of it all.
I am glad you said that though about carrying the personality of this cast, because I think if it weren't for Kate, and even though I'm not really loving Rachel this season, if it weren't for Rachel and Kate, what would we be watching? They're at least keeping it interesting, right? Yeah, Reza. Brandy's gone.
Reza was seemed extra, but he's gone.
Yeah.
They could maybe show some fucking strategy instead if it wasn't for the two of them.
That's assuming that there is strategy happening,
I mean,
which I'm not convinced.
There's strategy, it's just wrong. And so like to see further conversations of how things got to where they are, and like given I put Kate on every single TV show I watch. Like
yes.
I'm not saying that if she wasn't there, it would be like it wouldn't be as good or whatever. I just think it would be different. Because you're able to highlight this drama for so long. I think it takes away from the component of the game that makes this different. I don't want to say different, but like it gives it a little bit of a different edge than some of the other reality TV shows we watch. That I wouldn't mind seeing some of it, even if it's so off base. Like I think that the other two versions of this show that I've watched did a better job of highlighting like how and why we got to some decisions that we got to. As opposed to like what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And I feel like, especially at the roundtables, and I was going to say this about the Kyle roundtable, I feel like we're being really rushed through. And we're really not seeing a lot of the conversations that are happening and seeing how people are landing on where they're voting, which at least I feel like in the UK, we got more meaty discussions at the roundtable, and we got at least like an insight into what people were thinking, whether or not I agree, whether they're wrong or not. There's something about this season that they're not like showing everything. It just feels weird. The editing is weird, and I don't know if it's that like Kate and Rachel are a distraction from what's actually going on, but something just feels a little off to me. They're just not, and we talked about this in one of the last episodes. I think the last episode that we recorded is that they're just not doing a good job of building any tension. Because I'm not concerned at all about any of the traitors leaving or getting caught or anything. And I just feel like in the UK season, at least that I watched, like it felt like every single episode had tension that you had to cut through as a viewer to say like, oh my God, this is like, I can't believe this. I don't know what's going to happen. Are they going to land on the right thing or are they not? And here it's just like, we know they're wrong. They're wrong every episode, and we know they're going to continue being wrong.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm excited like to finish this season and to watch the UK and Australian version, because I feel like they're not showing a lot of strategy because there just is not, unfortunately. But maybe I should agree with Kari and give them the benefit of the doubt that they're just doing this for the fact that like at least the Rachel and Kate drama is entertaining. But I just truly feel there's just not a lot of strategizing going on behind, because these people are just, the little strategies they do show, the people, like I said earlier, the people who get it right are automatically targeted. And then the people who get it wrong are just wrong. I just don't feel there's a lot of like, even the wrong people, I don't think they're strategizing a lot. I think they're just going with their one thought, and they're just not being able to like look past that. So I really hope that when I watch the other versions, I see more of that, because like I like these social strategy games. I like these strategizing, and these people are just not giving me that, unfortunately.
No, not even a little
Something
bit.
That happened in the UK one that I don't know if it happens in this one. We might just not be seeing it, but after each roundtable, they go back into the castle and socialize more, and then like at midnight, like when the clock strikes midnight, that's when they all have to leave. And we really don't see we see the reaction at the round table after someone leaves and says that they're faithful exclusively this season, obviously. But in the UK, I think that was like a great time for, especially when you're like in the heat of the moment of like, fuck, another faithful has been banished. What are we doing wrong? And we're not seeing that conversation after, which I don't know if it's happening or we're just not seeing it. But
We're
I
seeing
think
it a
that's
little bit, like we saw it after the Kyle one, but it's like for 3 minutes. Like we're not getting an extended look at how they're reacting.
We had like full on like 10-minute components of the episode of like post roundtable, the conversations, the reactions, what's going right, what's going wrong, that type of thing. More strategy happening, and maybe that's the addition that we need.
Yeah. We need something, because it does feel like every time we're seeing these people talk, it's like, oh yeah, it's got to be Kate, or maybe it's Rachel, or I don't know, I think it's Kyle. It's just like we're just not getting any. It doesn't look like we're getting any like real discussions.
Yeah, that's another reason I'm excited to finish the season, and I hope that some of these cast members do like a YouTube video or something where they explain their gameplay, and
come on our podcast.
Or come on our podcast, exactly. And I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope that they like thought these things through, and they were just off base because they were being either manipulated or they had a reason. Like, I just hope that once I finish the season and these players talk about their gameplay, there is like more meat to it, because this is just super frustrating to me so far watching these people play this game, and I need to hear that there was some method to their madness, basically, you know?
Yes, I agree with you. I'm going to spend some time, I think, tomorrow digging into what some of the contestants have said. I've been like cramming Big Brother 11 in 2 hours and 40 minutes to refresh my memory for later. But when I have time, I'm definitely going to dig in to see. It seems like, based on some of the comments in the chat, at least today on YouTube, that stuff has been said from some of the contestants. So I'm looking forward to seeing, just reading some of it. And hopefully we get more. I totally agree. So the 3 armory barrels are rolled over the finish line. I think the players gathered $16,800 to add to the prize pot with the other barrels. Everybody tells Alan that Kate threw the money away, and he asks her why, and she said because they're heavy, and I thought that was a finish line. I was confused, which made me laugh. So they have a discussion over who's going to get to go to the armory, and they're like, well, Kate shouldn't get to go. And she's like, I don't want it. Like, I don't want it. So Ari ends up going in her place. So it's Rachel, Angelica, and Ari that go into the armory.
This is stupid. This is fucking stupid. Why are they like, I'm sorry, because you completed a challenge, you're going to get to pick 3 people to go.
Stupid.
Like, I like the component of the UK part where it's okay, if your team wins, then you have the opportunity, and just put some value on these challenges besides the money. Like, make it matter for the gameplay, and that the fact that no one had any opposition to the people on trial potentially getting to like have immunity, the shield, it's all so stupid. When I saw it, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, someone play this game. Someone.
Yeah, I know.
Sign me up, sub me in, like call the bullpen. We need a new pitcher in here because shit's gone out of hand. And so someone do something smart. One person, I am fucking begging you. Sorry. It made me really mad at that point. And
no, I agree. I agree with you. It's like, it's crazy. Everyone's just like, oh, who wants it? Like nobody wants it. It's not a team mission. There's only 3 people that have the chance of getting murdered tonight because 3 people are on trial, and no one else is worried about having to get murdered. So why would they want the shield? It feels like a weird time to introduce it when literally only 3 people are at risk of getting murdered, and the shield doesn't help you in the banishment. So there's no point in any of these other people trying to get it. And then even for Ari to be like, I guess I'll take it. Like, why? Why do you want it? You're not going to get murdered. It's just like, I guess he was trying to say like, I don't know, hopefully like Rachel or Angelica get it and not Kate. So at least like I'll get it so Kate can get murdered. But you have to know that the traitors are not going to murder Kate. Like there's really no reason for them to murder her.
This show makes me want to apply for my dual citizenship in the UK so that I can be put on their show and not the US one.
Yeah, this was silly. It didn't make any sense. Again, there are stakes, but like the stakes don't feel like they actually mean anything.
Especially in this one, like you just explained it. Like I would have loved to see other people chime in and be like, no, they were put on trial for a reason. Why are we giving them an out? Like good on Ari for being like, yeah, I'll take it. And I wish 2 other faithful were like, yeah, me too. Like, there must be a reason why these 3 are up. Because what if it was actually like 2 traitors and a faithful? What if the traitors were just fucking like going rogue because they felt so confident in everything that's been going on? Like, you don't know if you're giving a traitor a pass to continue on.
Yeah.
That, especially like the situation I played out earlier.
Yeah.
If they murder Kate, or if they banish Kate, and then you have one person on trial get the shield, like that other person, if that was a traitor, would like have to be murdered. Like, traitors would have to murder a traitor, and that didn't even come into consideration. Like, someone use a brain cell.
Well, if I'm Cody, my name is out there hardcore at the round table the night before, and I'm a traitor, so I don't want one of these 3 people, that I put on trial to get it. So why am I not saying, like, actually, I feel like I might be in danger because, like, my name is out there and there's suspicion on me. Like, I don't know what the traitors are going to do. Like, I would like the armory. I would like to go to the armory. None of them said anything. Again,
this is what I'm saying. Like, but honestly, with this cast, the person who said that probably would have been banished.
That's true. That's true.
The moment, I'm telling you, the moment someone makes sense, Quentin or Andy, I'm gonna keep harping on them because they've been the 2 that have been pushing, I feel, the narrative the most. They've had the most highlights, so that's why I'm like harping on those 2, because I feel like they've had the most screen time besides like the celebrities and the traitors. Like, someone like that would have been like, why does he want safety so bad? Maybe he's a traitor, you know? So I get why like some people wouldn't speak up, because the moment you speak up, you gotta go.
Yeah.
So it's just very frustrating, to further add to my frustration with the gameplay in these past few episodes.
Yeah, this was definitely, it felt silly. Like, even I had just quickly rewatched the episodes before we recorded, and I fast forwarded through the whole armory section because it literally is pointless. It doesn't matter. The armory section doesn't matter. Ari wins the shield. Basically, the way that they go in is they all are in this room. They go into this hidden room that Ryan Lochte was looking for. I guess he just like had a vision or something that he.
You guys all called him dumb. You guys all.
Yeah, I totally forgot about this, to be completely honest. And he opens each one of them opens like a little chest. They pick one, and one of the 3 chests in there has the shield necklace, and Ari is the one that ends up getting it. But they all they all decided not to share who wins the shield. So none of them know who has it, basically. And I think that's really just because they don't want it getting out to the traitors who has the shield, because then they'll know who they can and can't murder.
I will say that was the first smart move I've seen. That was actually a smart move not to share who got the shield.
Yes.
Shout out to those 3 for not sharing that.
Yep.
I'll give them a
Agreed.
+10 for that.
Agreed. But I do think if Rachel got the shield, she would have told Stephanie or Suri. I really do. I really think that she would have said something.
She would have wore it as part of her costume.
It would have matched.
She would have worn a shield. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Big ass emblem on her.
Yeah. So before the banishment, Cody, instead of trying to push Stephanie's name like he was doing last night, starts to push Rachel's name to Quentin. And he says she's a ruthless player. She wants the money. She's cutthroat. But I'm only 50-50 that she's a traitor. But that's really, that's all I am on anybody. And Quentin is like, I trust Cody. I trust Cody. I don't think he's a traitor. And I'm like, I truly don't understand. I don't understand.
Like, Cody's coming up to you, throwing out another name. Like, out of what it seems, unless like we said, there might be other conversations we're not seeing.
Right.
To me, if there aren't, Quentin, I'd be like, why are you starting to target Rachel out of nowhere?
Yeah, what happened to Stephanie? You were saying Stephanie last night.
That could have your flags like ding, 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 this is a little suspect. Instead, Quentin's like, what a great idea.
Yeah, well, I knew I could trust Cody. What a guy.
Yeah, well, the person they called Michael out for that, and I mean, specifically, it was Kyle who really pushed that forward, and he's not there anymore to help with that movement. But I mean, someone else has gotten banished for the same exact actions that Cody is taking.
Exactly.
Yep. So right before we get to the banishment, Christian asks Suri to talk outside, and this is probably the most interesting part of the episode. And he's like, "Listen, Cody's a liability. Like, I'm gonna have to sit elbow to elbow with him, but like, I might vote out Cody tonight." And we don't really get. Correct me if I'm wrong. Really don't see much of a reaction from Suri. We don't even get like confirmation that Christian is going to vote Cody. It's just like a potential, like, listen, I'm thinking about it. Like, it might make sense for us to vote Cody. And then here I was like, okay, here we go. Like, now I'm getting excited, but not too excited because we end on a cliffhanger. So this is it. I mean, we do get a confessional of Suri saying like, it's risky because either Christian decides not to vote for him, or we don't have the votes. Like things could get a little messy, which honestly is the outcome I'm hoping for, is that the two of them vote for Cody, but not everybody does, and then we get some real drama.
Oof,
I don't know about you guys. I think that would be amazing to see.
Yeah.
But we do get to the banishment, and Cody immediately starts putting suspicion on Rachel. This is where Angelica's like, I'm so bad at this game. Like, I just keep having conversations, and then I get more confused after every conversation. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm just so bad at this.
Okay.
Kari, I know you have feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. First of all, casting, like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've already talked about my anger with this. So I'm actually going to defend the action here of saying I have no idea what's going on, not because I believe this, but just to provide other viewpoints than shitting on the faithfuls. Which, what is my dog doing? Sorry, he just like put his paw up on my knee. Like, how did you even reach that high? Okay, so are you encouraging the traitors to keep you around because you are saying I have no idea what's going on in this game? I don't give her that much credit. However, it could work for her. Again, like, maybe the clueless route is the way to go for longevity. However, you do need to take some traitors out in the process to like have a chance to win. But my real feelings on this are, for you to come out at this round table and be like, I have no idea what's going on, is infuriating. Like, I guess maybe that's why I at least respect that Quentin and Andy are trying. Like, they're trying. God loves a trier, but I mean, none of it's going well. But to sit there and be like, I don't know. I just don't know. You got me. Why? Like, this.
Yeah,
because
I get
there's
it.
such potential for this to be such a fun, strategically based game with like the type of shade that Kate and Rachel are throwing. Like, you could have that like strategy based type of shade going on, but instead it's just like, you look like a clown and I don't know what's going on. Like, that's what's happening 6 episodes in.
I don't disagree with you about Angelica. I do think though, like, it makes her an easy murder for her to just continuously say like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who it could be. I have really no idea. Cut her then, because there's no one that, it won't look like anything. The traitors can get away with it no matter what if they're cutting someone who's like, I literally have no idea who it could possibly be. To me, that's the easiest murder, because then it's like, well, it's not like she put out Cody's name and then Cody murders her, and then they can be like, oh, she was saying Cody and then she got murdered, like maybe it's Cody. She's not saying anything, so she's the easiest person to murder, because it's just like, she's saying nothing and she's expendable. We could just get rid of her, keep these other people fighting, and then like the traitors can keep doing their thing. If she's putting suspicion out on someone, then it's like, either you can murder her to try and frame that person, or she's putting suspicion out on the right people, and then you can't really murder her. But for her to say nothing, it's just like, okay, we may as well get rid of her then. She's not contributing anything either way, and she's the perfect bait for us to just murder, and no one will find us out.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Katie, because that's kind of what they've been doing, right? They killed Azra, who really wasn't saying anything. They killed Bam, who really wasn't contributing. They killed Ryan, who's like a doorknob. So
yeah.
Like, they are killing these people who
don't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the people you want to kill, because then you don't raise any suspicion, because no one is going to target Angelica. So if you take her out and then you let these people do infighting, because they're banishing each other because they're really good at this game. So don't even waste your time killing the people who are trying to get the traitors. So
right.
yeah, I think, I don't know, Angelica saying that, I was like, girl, did you not see what happened to your bestie Azra? Like, come on.
Right, exactly. She's like, maybe I'm just like scared to speak, and everyone's like, great, then I'm just gonna fucking murder you.
Exactly.
That's perfect, makes it easy. You know, it's just like, I just feel like Angelica's digging herself the same hole that the rest of them are, where Quentin, I mean, and I'm not giving a pass to Quentin or Andy, because they're doing a lot of talking and it's all wrong. So there's no reason to murder them either, because they're so off base that the traitors are like, why would I murder them? They're putting suspicion on everybody but us, so I may as well keep them around. Like, it's just wild. This cast is a mess. They're just a mess. I mean, it's fun to watch, but they're really truly just a mess. It's baffling. It's just baffling. How could a group of people just be so consistently wrong? Like, I don't understand it.
To be fair, Angelica's not wrong. She just
true. She just has no idea. Yeah, no idea. Well, so Kate says to the table that fear and greed has turned this castle into hell, and she wants out. She doesn't even want to spend her days with everyone anymore, gossiping and lying to each other's faces. She doesn't want to do missions for people who are lying to her face just for them to steal the money back. And bafflingly, Rachel's like, you're just trying to cause confusion. And Kate's like, no, I actually like just don't care and I'm voting for you. And she's like, I'm not a traitor. And Kate literally says, I don't care. Like she just does not care. She said, I'm voting for you and I'm done and I don't care whether you're a traitor or not. I just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've praised Kate a lot and I love Kate. But as like someone who loves these kind of games, it is definitely a little disheartening to hear someone kind of just give up. Like I'm not in Kate's shoes. Maybe like it's been so terrible for her that she feels like she needs to give up. But part of me is like, damn, like I hate seeing that in like other shows where people are just like, just vote me out. Like I really don't like that attitude because if I were in their shoes, like I would love to be on like one of these shows. And if I were there, like I would be fighting every damn day. So it's a little disheartening to hear, but maybe Kate's just having such a terrible experience that like, fine, maybe that's why you went out. But yeah, it's definitely this was like the first time that I was like a little like, damn, Kate, like I was team you 10 out of 10. And now it's like, don't give up, girl. Like keep the chaos going.
Yeah.
So
I don't think she'll quit.
No, I don't think so. I don't think she'll quit either.
Which is why my ideal situation is that she doesn't get banished and they don't murder her. Keep her around. Like, why not? She's still a shield. Like, the fact that she's even making it through the fact of saying, like, please get me out of here. I think with the people around her, they would even more so believe that she's a traitor, despite the fact that it should be further proved she isn't.
Yeah. I think it's just, to me, and I agree with you, Javier, I love Kate. As you know, I picked her first in the draft. I love her. I'm a fan of hers from Below Deck for a very long time. To me, it feels like in order for this game to move forward, she has to go because it's distracting Rachel and Stephanie and all of these other people who just continuously keep looking at Kate and they're not thinking of the bigger picture. And for somebody who's played games like Big Brother and Amazing Race and all these other strategic games, the fact that Rachel's so blinded by Kate, when Kate's actions make literally no sense if she were a traitor, it truly makes no sense to me how she can't just be like, all right, forget it. If you guys aren't going to vote Kate, then like we need to find out who a traitor is. But no, she just focuses on Kate all the time. It just is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So Cody says, he puts out Rachel's name and he says that she's one of the most cutthroat people. She can look at this as a game and sleep fine at night. And Rachel says that Cody's making this personal. And Cody's like, no, I'm not. And Kate is like, he's literally not. Like, you're making it personal. Which is weird that she said that, because I didn't feel like anything Cody was saying was making it personal, like, against Rachel. He was just like, you're really good at games like this. And you can separate the fact that this is a game from your personal feelings for people and sleep fine at night knowing that, like, there's a goal for money at the end. And Cody says something along the lines of like, can someone please like explain what I'm trying to say to Rachel? Because clearly like she can't understand the words that I'm saying right now. And I was just like, yeah, I understand why Cody's getting frustrated here because Rachel really irritated me in this conversation.
I wish Kate was like, no, I made it personal against you.
Right.
I dunked on your clown ass outfit. That was personal. This is not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very much like a pot meat kettle. Like, Rachel's obsession with Kate is strictly
so personal. All personal.
There is zero game involved. So it's for her to say, Cody, you're making this, like, come on. That's literally why you're targeting Kate, for personal reasons. Not because and if you do genuinely think she's a traitor, then you're just off your rockers, girl, because come on.
Yeah, this was interesting. And then of course Quentin chimes in and is like, Rachel, like, Cody said to me, like, you think it's just a game. And I was like, yeah, wow, look at that. She thinks it's just a game. And then he's like, and then it hit me. You think this is just a game? And I'm like, it is a game. Dude, it's a game. What do you think it is if you don't think it's a game? It is a game. It's a game. This really is what got, like, I was like, Quentin, just stop talking. You just need to stop talking. Because everything that comes out of your mouth just makes it worse. Every single thing you say just makes it worse. I just, like, I can't believe the stuff that this guy is saying.
That was the straw for me. Like, as we've seen this whole podcast, I've been like dragging Quentin because I kept playing that back. She thinks it's just a game. Well, what do you think it is?
Yeah, bro? What do you think it is?
Like,
all right. Clearly, you guys don't think ball is life, so shit.
At least it has money. Like, well, this house has money involved too. So.
Yeah, I just. I don't know. This is pretty crazy. Rachel also throws out there that Angelica and Kate both said they didn't care about the shield. And then Angelica's like, actually, I never said that. Like, don't put words in my mouth. I never said that I don't care. I just said, like, I want the shield, but I'm not going to prioritize myself over getting money for everybody else. And then we hear Sari piping up and says that she doesn't think Rachel's a traitor, but she also doesn't think Kate is a traitor.
Yeah.
And then we see Cody, and for Big Brother fans, you see that look on Cody's face that he gets when he feels like he's in trouble or he's irritated. And he even said to Kyle, like, he has trouble speaking up unless he's attacked. It feels like he's thinking that he's about to be attacked here. And he says, so where do you see a traitor? And he says it in such like a monotone, like, then where do you see a traitor? And I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then the episode ends.
Y'all, my jaw was like, when Sari said that, I was like, wait, what is Sari about to do? Like, I'm literally gonna end this podcast and go watch it, because I honestly don't think Sari's gonna throw Cody under the bus. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what she's gonna say though. Like, who is she gonna pin as a target? I'm just like, I was just fully gagged when she said that, because I was like, Sari, I thought you were just gonna chill, like continue, because that's what she's been doing. She's letting other people talk, and then she'll like interject, like, oh, actually, that's a pretty good idea, which I think is how you should play the game. But to hear her like blatantly say, I don't think the two main targets should be our target. Like, I don't know who she's gonna pin it on. So I'm like super excited to see where this goes. She's think?
Coming, absolutely. Here's what the traders need. Here's what needs to happen. Because a trader has to go at this point. They have to. And here's where Christian and Sari are definitely able to boost their like faithful meter, right? If Sari leads the Cody vote, or like says, is not leads, but like Sari puts her stamp of approval on the Cody vote, he goes and, oh my God, we got our first traitor. Yeah. Woo. Mm-hmm. Like, who at that table has the intelligence to question Sari as a traitor at that point? And I mean, I guess Christian as well, I'll give him his credit that he had that conversation with her beforehand. Like you guys said, like, the smartest thing or like most strategic thing that's happened. I absolutely agree. I've been wearing this hood all fucking podcast to channel the traitorness coming out in this next episode, because, and you know what? Sari even said it to Cody when they were going back and forth about Ryan. Like, oh, I swear we weren't friends out here. And she goes, yeah, but you are a traitor. Fucking live up to it, Sari. Take him down. Crush this man. We need him out of here. You are going to skyrocket into the eyes of being faithful. You are going to cruise to a win and bring home a win for my draft team. Let's go, Sari. I think she says it. And then they recruit Kate as a traitor.
No, they can. I would never recruit Kate. Kate is too much. I
just think it would be fun.
It would be fun, though. It would be fun.
That's my fan fiction, but I actually do believe that she says Cody.
But this is why I said, like, Christian, like, ended off these, like, I said in the beginning of the podcast, like, Christian is now, like, playing a pretty decent game. Like, to be the one who, like, pitched it to Sari, like, Cody's a little sus. So I mean, I'm gonna give Christian some props. Plus, he's on my draft. So if Christian and Sari win, I also win.
True, it's true.
So while I do agree, Christian's annoying. Don't get me wrong. I don't love Christian. If he wasn't a traitor, I would have wanted him home a long time ago. And if he wasn't in my draft, I would have wanted him a long time ago. But to see him make a little bit of some inroads and to play a little bit more strategic, and the fact that, like I mentioned in the last podcast, like, he's really going into like the traitor villain energy that, like, I like that energy. People who like commit to the role, as opposed to Cody, who's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So this was another like +1 for a little check mark for Christian, being like, good job, Christian. So if they do get out Cody, that's amazing.
If you remove like 80% of what he says, I actually appreciate what he's bringing to this game right now.
Yeah, his stock is rising as long as he doesn't speak. For sure. I agree with you. I agree. I think he's in a much better position than Cody is, for sure. Sari is obviously queen traitor. I don't think anybody is looking at Sari. Clearly no one's looking at Christian either, but I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll find out tomorrow in our recap what happens. Who does Sari say is the traitor?
That's where we end.
That's where we end. Any final thoughts?
No,
I need to go watch episode 7.
I'm gonna have to watch them tomorrow morning. That sucks. I have to watch the Cowboys try to take on their Tom Brady. I hate everything. Katie, congrats on the Giants. But
thank you. Really exciting win yesterday from the Giants.
Yeah. All right. No, I have nothing else. I gave my very excited speech at the end of what I think and hope happens.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll see tomorrow who's right. When we meet again, we'll be back at 7 p.m. tomorrow night to talk episode 7 and 8. Today is Monday? Yeah. Okay. That's what I have written down. Let's close out. Kari, where can everybody find you if they would like to keep up with what you're doing?
Honestly, if you're online, I probably have you muted right now. So don't even bother trying to follow me.
I am muted.
I
tweeted, I didn't get spoiled by the Traitors. And Kari was like, well, I'm muting you.
I literally, Javier's muted. I have muted anybody. I know we're at the same point, but listen, if I even think you're tweeting about the Traitors, I have you muted right now. So if you want to follow me, chances are, like, I won't even accept it until after the Traitors is over. It's KGD26. But otherwise, I'm podcasting with Katie about the challenge as well as Real Housewives. We just did Real Housewives yesterday, the challenge on Saturday. Just scheduled an end of season circle podcast with Alex from last season, as well as Josie. So the three of us will be on to talk about this entire season this upcoming Sunday. So check that out. But otherwise, yeah, I'm online, but you're probably muted. So
Javier, how about you?
So you can find me at _the_starboy on Twitter. Again, I'm tweeting very vaguely, so don't worry. There are no spoilers on my timeline. I just want to say, Kari, you tweeted a very similar thing to me about the Traitors. So for you to mute me, it hurts.
Was it the Kate quote?
I don't remember what you tweeted, but you tweeted something about the Traitors, and I was like, but you can't mute me because I'm doing the same thing, girl.
You can mute me. Listen, I mute and block liberally. That is absolutely. I believe in everybody curating their timeline to be exactly what they want it to be. And right now I don't want any trick because people are reckless. Like Isaiah went on a fucking spree, just like
I had to mute him.
Exactly. So
not a hashtag to be found on that man's tweets.
Not a hashtag. I was like, Isaiah, please.
Hey, Glances, I don't know if you can hear this on the podcast or in the other room, but politely, fuck you. So, if you are listening to this, he said, I muted Kari long ago. Which, you know what? To be fair, like, I tweet dumb shit all the time. I deserve to be muted.
Glances is not even a Twitter user. He doesn't even use Twitter.
But yeah,
he's just a troll.
Tweeting. And then once the podcast is done, I will post a spoiler probably because I have more spoilery thoughts, but I won't for now.
Okay. Well, for me, you can find me on Twitter at RealSlimKatie. I'm not spoiling the show, but I am tweeting about how much I hate the Twitter update with the For You page and the following tab. Like, please just let me just see tweets from the people I follow in chronological order. Like, is that too much to ask, Elon Musk? This is not TikTok. I don't need a For You page. Please leave me alone. And don't make it default to For You. I want it to default to who I'm following. If I wanted to see those tweets, I would have followed those people. Oh my God. Is it that hard? No, it's not. You can also find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSlimKatie with an underscore. I took last week off just because there's so much happening with podcasts and TV and coverage. And I think I've been podcasting every single day since last Tuesday with no end in sight. So we're just going to keep it going with another podcast later tonight at 8 p.m. with Isaiah and Josiane. We're talking Big Brother 11. I watched Big Brother 11, but I was just watching the Big Brother 11 in 2 hours and 40 minutes on YouTube, which shout out to whoever makes those videos where that condenses the season down into 3 hours. They're great. What a completely unhinged season. I didn't realize Technotronics happened literally in week 1. And I just I can't wait to talk about how messy this season is because it's just a disaster. So you can find us live on YouTube and Twitch later talking about that. At 8 p.m. Eastern. You can also find, as Kari said, our Housewives coverage. We covered all the most recent episodes of Real Housewives yesterday. Was that yesterday? Mm-hmm. Yes. So you can check that out on the Cool Water Show. We put out a TJ Hates Quitters for the challenge this weekend. I also have been podcasting with Jason about Pressure Cooker. So you can catch me on the episodes 1 and 2 and episodes 3 and 4 recap. Those are audio only, no videos there. And I think that's it right now. Yes, I think that's it. So check us out there. If you also, please feel free to follow us on anywhere you listen to your podcast. Search us, Silent Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. I use Pocket Casts as my podcast app. We're on there. And leave us a rating or review. We really prefer 5 stars. It helps us get discovered in whatever algorithm. So come on, this is a 5-star podcast. Kari wore a hood this whole time. She wore a hood this whole time. How is this not a 5-star?
See how red my face is?
I know, I'm warm just looking at you. It's like warm in here. I'm looking at you. You're in a hood. I'm warm. I just feel warm.
My face is as red as it gets when I'm drinking, and I'm sober.
That is 5-star dedication, people. So give us a 5-star review if you haven't done that yet. You can also follow us on Twitch and YouTube. Search us there at Silent Podcasts to follow along with us live when we record 75-80% of what we put out live on that's just a random number, but it's close to that, live on Twitch and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter at silent_podcast to keep up with everything that we are doing. In the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow to talk episodes 7 and 8. We're getting close to the end, and you will find out along with Kari and Javier. Does Suri say Cody? Does she not say Cody? I already know the answer, but they don't. So they'll find out, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow. So catch us there. Talk to you all soon. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.